Learning to edit can feel super overwhelming. There are so many tools, so many tutorials, it's hard to know even where to start. And I've been there, but after a decade of editing experience, I figured out a process that actually works. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact roadmap I would take if I were learning editing today. Whether you're editing for YouTube, commercials, music videos, I've done them all, and this process will actually help you move forward. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll share the secret skill that will turn you into a master at editing.
You gotta just press record.
Hey, what's up? Nate here with Think Media. So I probably edited close to 1,000 videos over YouTube, commercials, music videos, short films. I've done them all, and I started out messy. And I wish there was a video that could kind of clearly give me an outline on how I would learn editing. So I thought I would share this all with you guys. So let's go ahead into tip number 1, and that is start with what you have. Really, you have to learn the basic fundamentals of editing before you even consider some of the technical aspects. Just getting your hands dirty is the best way to go forward. When I got my start, I used iMovie on my phone, and it wasn't ideal editing like that, but what it taught me was the skill of editing, when to trim, when was the right timing, editing music, making sure I set the volumes right. You can do all those in any basic editing program. And once you're ready to graduate to a higher level editing program, there are plenty to choose from Final Cut Pro, Premiere, DaVinci Resolve. I've used all 3 of those throughout my editing journey, but the program I would recommend starting off with today is actually DaVinci Resolve. Number 1, you can get started with the free version of it, which is super powerful. And if you do want the full studio upgrade, it's only $300 one-time fee. You're not paying a subscription. It's a huge benefit getting started with that, and that can take you all the way up to your full professional editing needs. From there, you want to learn some basic editing tools. So any of these editing programs is going to have a cut, trim, ripple, delete function. Understanding these tools early on is going to help fundamentally improve your video editing later down the road. Honestly, 90% of what editing is using this blade tool. So you want to get familiar with it, take it out to dinner. You want to get comfortable and understand how to use these tools, because the better foundation you lay early on is just going to improve your further editing before we get into the more advanced territory. This next step is building a habit that you need to start from the very beginning, and that is organization. Organizing your workflow, your different projects. Anytime you start a new project, I like to give it a name that I can later reference to. I might even put the date on it. Then separating those into A-roll, B-roll, sound effects, music, project files, all those things. The better organization you have from the start, the easier it is to be able to reference files later, especially when you start working with clients. Maybe you're collaborating. There's been so many times I'm working with another editor and the projects are a mess and I don't know how to reference it. And I just have to re-edit the whole thing in my particular way because it is such a mess. So the more organized you are, the more valuable editor you are going to be for others and for yourself. Maybe you need to reference your video from a few years past. Being able to have everything nice and organized is going to be such a time saver. Get started with organization. So the first half of this editing journey is really just understanding the basics, getting a good foundation, which brings me to my next tip. You want to have simple, clean edits. Before you even worry about fancy transitions or different effects, just being able to tell a linear story, like if I'm talking in front of the camera, making sure I know when to cut, not to leave too long of a breath, making sure that the audio is smooth and is at appropriate level, that the music isn't too loud. All these things are just the basics, the fundamentals. But if you can nail this down, you can make any video entertaining and pleasing to watch despite whatever project may call to your needs. This applies to YouTube, this applies to commercial, promotional films, music videos. All this stuff, all these skills are going to be important to learn early on. Personally, I'd rather watch a simple video that looks and sounds decent than something with flashy effects trying to grab my attention. I would even go further in saying that having clear titles and text is so important. A lot of people will throw text on screen, but it's hard to read. They choose a bad color, a bad font, or just in a bad position and you can't read it. If you're going to have text on screen, it has to be legible. So adding things like a drop shadow when it's appropriate so your text pops on screen. All these things are important to learn, and just understanding some basic graphic design, knowing where to put text, using lower thirds, brackets, markers. All of those things are going to be tremendously helpful. Now this video is definitely an overview, but if you want to dive in and actually see how to do these things, actually use the tools, I have a full video editing a YouTube video in DaVinci Resolve from start to finish. You can follow it step by step, download footage, follow along with me. I'll leave a link in the description to that video, or you can watch it at the end of this one. At this point, you should be able to edit a good basic video, but if you're like me, it took a long time to do so, which brings me to the next point, and that is to speed up your workflow. You want to become a more efficient editor. That is going to make you more valuable if you're looking to pursue this as a career, or that editing just takes hours at a time. Be able to edit it faster means you can make more videos, be more creative with it. So the first thing I would learn is some keyboard shortcuts. This is going to be dependent on which editing program you use, but learning the ones that are already built into your editor is just going to help speed up the actual amount of time you are literally cutting each thing. So for me, the blade tool is B, so you can just press the B button and it'll make a cut. You can use ripple delete like we said. Mapping that all out on keyboard shortcuts is going to drastically improve the speed at which you can edit. So definitely spend some time, look up some tutorials, get familiar. You can customize it to fit your needs, and that is going to help speed up. So as you go through your editing journey, another thing that is going to be really useful in speeding up your workflow is building an asset library. Downloading some of your favorite sound effects, musics that you like to use, different stock footage, LUTs, different assets you can put together and have in one place. This has been a huge help for me as an editor for Think Media and now shooting and editing videos. By having these references I can just pull from and build out different asset packs for me is just a great thing. So getting started on this early is something I wish I'd done, kind of slowly collected these over time. I've only started doing it in the last couple years, but get started right away. Just start building those folders of the musics, the sound effects that you like. Now, another tool that's going to drastically speed up your editing process if you are doing talking head videos such as this is a tool called Gling.ai. And they're actually sponsoring today's video. And what this tool does is a huge time saver. What it'll do is take your A roll and it will automatically cut out all the empty gaps, any bad takes you might have had. So for this video, I'm recording for 30 minutes now and I probably had 17 bad takes. And so what I'm gonna do is run this video through Gling.ai and it's going to basically give me a rough cut of my video. I can then export that as an MP4 or even export it out into an editing program so I can later fine tune my edits. This tool has been a huge game changer for me here at Think Media. I'm able to edit videos faster and with a lot less headaches and stress because I'm not constantly listening through. So this has saved me hours editing. If you want to get started for free, you can click the link in the description down below. Check out Gling.ai. If you are doing YouTube videos kind of like this is going to really save you a lot, trust me. We've now reached a point which we can actually edit a video and be very efficient with it. The next step in your editing journey is to diversify, expand your skills. Really, you need to edit anything or in everything because this is going to help you be more broad in your skills. For me in my journey, I've edited YouTube videos, commercials, narrative films, music videos, weddings. And the funny thing about editing is anything you learn in those fields will transfer over into, let's say you're doing commercials, then you edit for YouTube, and then you want to edit a music video. All those things will transfer. For example, before my job here at Think Media, I did commercials. And so I would be editing these mini documentaries, promotional videos, and I had to learn how to edit a 30-minute interview down to basically a 15-second ad that would run on TV. And that was incredibly hard to do. But when I got the job here at Think Media, I had a video of Sean's that was around 20 minutes. It was kind of rambly, but I was able to take that video, cut it down to 8 minutes of just pure, concise, valuable information. And that skill transferred. I was able to apply those things in another field and it became more valuable. Now that I had that experience, I can apply it to a new field and become a very valuable editor. So if I were starting over again, I would be willing to edit anything. It didn't really matter what it is. If my friend had a video that needed edited, learning those skills would be so valuable. And then from there, you might even get paid gigs from that circle group, build up a small portfolio, be able to get jobs from there. And learning those skills is going to be great for your editing journey. So up to this point, we built a solid foundation. These next few steps is where we're going to dive into some more intermediary skills. The first of which is to seek feedback and improve. When you start editing and you've edited for a while, you can become blind to some of your mistakes and errors. And one thing that I was very fortunate to have a little bit later in my editing journey was to be able to work with people that actually gave me constructive criticism, and was good constructive criticism that allowed me to see where I was making mistakes and further improve those. Now, I gotta be honest, a lot of your editing is just going to be learned through mistakes, but if you can have someone look over your shoulder and point out some of those things, you're going to drastically be able to identify those problems and fix those. For example, when I get done with an edit, what I like to do is sit back, watch it. Maybe I have my brother or friend watch the video. And by the act of them watching it, I began to analyze my video a little bit differently. And I'd be able to see when things are slow, when I need to, maybe something I thought was funny wasn't actually as funny, or maybe it was funny and I'm more reassured in that I got the laugh when I wanted to. So showing your work in front of people and listening for constructive criticism is going to drastically improve your skills as an editor, and you're going to be able to make better videos, better films, much more efficiently. You'll be able to see those problems and fix them. I know a lot of beginners, and maybe even myself when I was starting out, have a lot of pride in their editing, and after they spent hours putting together this awesome project, and then they watch it, and maybe people do give feedback, and you're like, oh, well, you just didn't get it. You just didn't get it. You know, having that humble attitude and be able to see where things are not working and be able to fix them is going to be huge. People are inundated by media. We are very experienced on knowing what's good about a TV show, when editing feels wrong, even though if we don't have the words for it, people can see when something's off. But if you can learn from those people that give you that feedback, sit back and actually figure out, why wasn't it working? How can I speed this up? Maybe how do I slow things down a bit? The other tip is to study other creators. So for example, if you are editing for YouTube, watch some of your favorite creators and start analyzing how they edit their videos. An exercise that you can do is after you watch a video, watch it back with the sound off and just take note of how fast they're editing, when things speed up, when they're on the talking head video, when they cut away to B-roll. For example, something I noticed that MKBHD will do is he will be on the talking head when he's making a point, and he might even do a digital zoom in when he really wants to emphasize something. And because I was being observant on how his videos are edited, I can take those same ideas and edits and apply them to my videos. So if I make a point, I can draw you in, or I can go back out. Now, many people will stop at just watching their favorite creators and they don't do anything else, but I get really inspired by watching people outside of the niche I watch, or watching movies, TV shows, and seeing how they piece together things and tell a story when you don't have the best quality footage and you got to make something work. These skills that you can learn by just being really observant is going to be awesome. So these last two tips are going to help take you from the intermediary phase into the professional. And by now, you probably have edited hundreds of videos and probably have a good idea of what you like to edit and what you don't like. It's now time to get some more advanced skills and to specialize. We became a good general editor where we can edit for anything, but no one wants to edit everything. We want to kind of specialize in something that we truly love. So whether that is YouTube videos in the education niche like I'm doing now, or if it is commercials, music videos, you want to start learning the skills that are going to make you stand out in those fields. So if I wanted to become an editor for Netflix, what I would probably start learning is some storytelling techniques, getting proper pacing, watching film masters, and honestly, there's professional movie editors making tutorials on YouTube. It's wild. Paying attention to those tutorials on how people edit, learning the emotion, pacing, even maybe some color grading techniques to really become a more well-rounded film editor, I would start specializing in those techniques. Versus if I were on YouTube, I might still learn some storytelling, but I would be paying attention to pacing, the clarity of how I convey the content, maybe some motion graphics skills so I can have great visuals for my videos. Now, if you want a much deeper level of editing knowledge, I highly recommend the book Edit Better by Jeff Barsh. If you're looking to incorporate storytelling into your edits or keeping the viewer-centric mindset throughout your videos, and also just like working with clients, there's some pretty practical advice in this book. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Which brings me to my next tip, and that is consistency is key. The only way you're gonna get better at editing is to edit. You're training your brain at solving a puzzle, but there's no picture on the box and you're missing some of the pieces. The way you're gonna learn and how it's gonna work for you is by sitting there and trying different things, experimenting. A lot of what I do as a professional YouTube editor and now creator is you do much of the similar things and you're up against a deadline, you're trying to constantly get something done and then you move on. But I found a lot of times when you can make time to improve something, improve your hook a little bit, taking the time to learn a different effect, those things just add a little bit of spark back into what you do and you feel yourself progress and try new things. Throughout my whole journey, I have been fairly consistent when it comes to editing. Again, probably, no doubt, I think I'm close to editing 1,000 videos if I tally everything up, which is really crazy to think about. And so by showing up, even when it's challenging, even when you're struggling to edit, by just being consistent at it, maintaining that threshold of quality has been a huge thing in my career. Being able to maintain high quality standard for every video that I'm making. You know, I may not be able to get to perfection, but get it to a good level and then move on to the next project. And that continual process is going to help you, inform you, and you're going to just naturally become a better editor. And eventually you'll look back 10 years and now you're teaching people how to edit. Pretty insane. Now, I mentioned that there is a secret skill that is going to turn you into a master at editing, and that is to be continually observant. By observing TV shows, movies, YouTube videos, and just understanding how people edit, watching breakdowns on how people edit. I often like to look at deleted scenes of movies and realize, oh, that felt really off. I see why they deleted that. So all of that, just being observant on what you do and just learning to apply those things too is what's going to really transform you and take you to that next level. If you want to take your first step into your editing journey, I have a full video going step by step how I would edit a video inside DaVinci Resolve. You can watch that video right here.